Hey everybody, welcome to etrailer.com. I'm Bobby, and today we're taking a look at the Malone Downloader J-Style Kayak Carrier here in our 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Now guys, this can be a nice way of giving yourself a single kayak carrier on your roof rack system. Of course, going to make it really easy to get your kayaks there, especially in the Jeep. We don't have a bed of a truck, we can just toss it in, so this can be an excellent way of making sure we have a nice secure carrier for holding onto our kayaks. So, as you guys can see, you're getting a nice little strap kit with it too. Going to be excellent to go ahead and start tying it down. Now, one thing I really like about the Downloader, I think it's easier to actually get these straps set up. And why that is, we actually have a little plastic tab on the back side there that we'll show you here in just a second. It's going to go ahead and make getting the straps set up quite nicely for ourselves, as well as allowing ourselves to utilize our loading ramps here to get a nice secure area to get our straps set through. And of course, you can see those straps are pushing everything into our carrier. We'll break that down a little bit later, as you guys see, and as we start taking it off. Well, we're not gonna have too much trouble at all getting our guy up on there. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at some of our straps. Well, we actually do have bow and stern straps as well. So here we are on the front. We can actually see how we're holding on here today. To go ahead and open up our hatch, we can see, or our hood I should say, you can see how we have this in. So we just have a little S hook here holding us in today. So you do need to find yourself a nice little frame mount here. Now the Jeep Grand Cherokee doesn't have a lot of great tie down points for this guy. Now if you are looking at these straps, they're definitely going to do the job quite well for yourself. However, we actually do have a couple of different nicer options for yourself available here at etrailer.com. So you can go ahead and look at the eTrailer Kayak Strap Down Kit. That's going to go ahead and give you a lot of great little pickups. The biggest one for me being you actually can get these things called quote unquote dog bones. They're just going to be a foam anchor style. Basically, you're just going to have a T attachment, basically give you that nice foam blocker to go ahead, set on anywhere inside your vehicle and give you a temporary mounting point. That way we're not stuck to only finding these little holes here in our frame. Like you might be tempted to go here, but that's plastic. You can end up ripping that, causing damage, and then your strap is flying off, and that's not good. Of course, make sure you do have that metal contact. That way you have a nice secure mount if you are using these S hooks. And that's kind of why we recommend to take a look at that strap kit. Just makes it a little bit easier of getting all of our bow and stern nice and secured. And as well as the back, it's a big one because this S hook, yeah, you do have some of those brackets in the back, but sometimes they're just a pain to get to. Not to mention if you have cargo in there. So highly recommend just taking those a look. These are definitely going to do the job though if you just need something to work. But if you just want a little bit more convenience, highly recommend checking those out. Well, now that we have our bow and our stern straps removed, we can go ahead and start removing our main tie-down elements. So, taking a look at these guys, again, if you guys were looking at that strap tie-down kit, you're gonna get a little bit of a different strap here as well, but I think these guys are definitely gonna do the trick for you. Now, I think the cam buckle is a little lackluster. However, it does a great job of holding on there. As you guys can see, we are gonna have just a nice little felt padding on the backside. So if this does start making contact with your kayak, we can be secure in the knowledge that it's not gonna be scratching it, not gonna be damaging it, of course. But I do wanna take note of exactly how we have this strap ran through. So I'm gonna go ahead and loosen my one end here. So we just press in on that lever, of course, allowing us to take it off. So you can see this is actually two ends of one strap. So we have our cam buckle going across our kayak, back around the back post of our element as we saw earlier. And then we simply have the rest of our strap coming back across underneath. We want to take it through our crossbar system as we don't want that to be putting too much pressure on our carrier. So as much help as we can give it is going to be a huge factor of making sure we have a nice secure platform for our carrier. And that way we can go ahead, run it through the underneath, back up to the front of our loading pad and back up into our strap. And what that's going to do, make sure all of our pressure is being pushed against our carrier with our strap. That way if we were to hit any bumps or anything like that, it's going to keep it nice and secure to the Downloader as it sits on there. To remove it, all we want to do is simply take this guy out like so. You can see it's a little tight right now, so what we want to do, loosen the other side, and we can take the entire thing off. Well, now that we have everything removed, we can go ahead and get our kayak off of our carrier. What I like to do, guys, is kind of shift it to me by pushing on the bottom here. You're going to see this is going to want to rotate here. Catching the sides or the top is going to be very helpful. If you're a little on the shorter side, it can be helpful to grab that middle point instead of having to reach on the other side of the cockpit there. And we can go ahead and simply get a lot of that weight, get underneath it, and start getting it off. Now you will notice too, we can go and actually utilize this loading platform here if we were to get this up. So in my opinion, the Jeep Grand Cherokee, definitely a taller vehicle, so getting this up here might be just a little bit of a pain, but if you guys can get it to that loading platform, then you can shift it up. It's gonna be way easier to mount it. But to go ahead and take it off, we just simply grab it and walk away with it. Now that we got the kayak off, we can go ahead and take a closer look at our carrier itself. So you guys can see, have a little better look here at this loading platform pad right here. It makes it really easy, like we said, to load up that kayak, shift it on, and get it in position. Now, I've gone ahead and just thrown this in its straight up vertical position here. Now this, of course, can carry your kayak, but you guys probably saw it in this position like we had it earlier. Just gives you that better J-style look, leans that kayak back, just makes it seat a little bit easier. I've just gone ahead to do this just to give us our max height here. Looking at dimensions wise with our plastic spacer at the very top, looks like it's gonna be putting us right under 20.5 inches, about 20.25 inches there, guys, to the very top, and that is at its most vertical post. Now we are working here on the Yakima Jetstream crossbars, the Skyline Tower, so we are adding a little bit more extra height to our vehicle. Let's go ahead and see from our roof to the top of here now, instead of from just our crossbar. That's putting us at 24.5 inches. Now keep in mind, your roof rack system at home might just be a little bit different of how you get this on there. So keep in mind, that's why I gave you that first height to see what you can add onto your own roof rack at home. Now talk about how this guy's actually mounted on the bottom here. You can see this little flange here. This guy, all we have to do, back off one of these knobs, spin this guy out, and we can quickly take this off. We can do the same thing to get it on though. We just simply get that latch set all the way across and start tightening up. It'll secure this to our crossbars. Now, you guys can see we are on those aero bars styled here today. That fits great, and I think a lot of the carriers that you guys are gonna be seeing in the future are gonna be going to this style. It just seems to be a better crossbar system. However, it can fit a variety of different styles, whether it be round, square, arrow, or elliptical, so it should have a great job getting on there. Now, I will say, if you have some of your thicker bars, like the HD bars, they might have a slight issue as you don't have that much length of threading here. Now, you can go ahead and replace those bolts, but it's kind of a pain to do. I highly recommend trying to stick within somewhat of a skinnier bar of just making sure that that accessory has no problem getting on there. It is going to be made of a lightweight aluminum as well. Makes it really easy, of course, to get it up on here. It doesn't take too much effort, and with that as well, it will be resisting corrosion. Of course, you have a little bit of marine foam padding here in the middle. They are just kind of more of a hard contact than anything. The pads do a pretty decent job, of course, of just making sure we're not going to be damaging our kayak as we carry it. And you do have these hook and loop holders here holding on to our outside pads here, allowing us to keep our marine from getting too gnarled up, too gross. We can go ahead, quickly take these guys off, wash them, and throw them back on, which becomes nice. Now that little plastic tab, as you guys saw earlier, is where our straps are gonna fit in. I really like that because it makes it easy to go ahead, get your straps set first, hang them to the side, and then just bring them around your kayak and they'll be nice and secured for you. A lot of times in a lot of other carriers, you see them falling down here, and then you're having to go around your kayak. It's just kind of a pain to get there. So nice that'll keep it right at the top. Makes it really easy to go ahead and get that in position. And just to give you guys an idea of how this system works, all we got to do, push that lever out like so, and you can see that's going to give us total access to go ahead and bring this guy in, and we can go ahead and collapse that. I'm a little bit too far actually, but as you guys can see, there we can go ahead and latch on position. Now let's go ahead and see what our max height would be if we were in this position. So from our crossbar here today to the very top is going to be putting us right under 5 inches there, guys. So 5 inches from our roof rack to the very top. Again, go ahead and try to measure exactly what you're adding on top of your roof. That way we don't have any issues pulling this in the garage, or at least getting through those pesky drive-throughs wherever we might be. Now, one little thing with this guy that it's kind of sorely lacking in my opinion is a security system. There's no way of making this nice and secure on the top of a vehicle when we leave it unattended. In fact, you're probably more often than not going to find yourself taking this off and putting it in your vehicle if that is something you're worried about. Now, of course, if you're just off by yourself, they're not going to do a bad job of hanging on there. But if something we're worried about, it doesn't take too much long to get these bolts undone, and then we can simply put that inside. However, if that's a hassle you don't want to worry about all the time, we highly recommend taking a look at the Yakima J-Lo J-Style Kayak Carrier. You're going to get a lot of the great features you saw in this guy, and actually a few more to boot. Not only is the clamping system just a little bit easier to work, in my opinion, it also has a locking core capability on it. So what's awesome about it too, you can actually get it key to like, even if you were to use a Yakima roof rack system as well. So like we have the Jetstream here with the Skyline towers. We can go ahead, put the JLo on there, get the same locking core set, and start getting them nice and keyed alike. That way we only have one key for all of our Yakima accessories. However, I think the Malone downloader is a great little option, especially if you want just a little bit of a assist getting that kayak up. Now, one thing that's awesome about it, you can also use the Telos Load Assist, and what you need for that is probably a little bit more overhang than we have here today. I'd probably shift this guy out a little bit. In fact, you might get on the outside of your towers, and that way you can go ahead and actually get the full use of that Telos Load Assist. It's basically just two little ramps that go right in that loading pad, and then you can walk up your kayak. So especially if you find yourself having a little bit of difficulty, since the Jeep Grand Cherokee is a little large, I'm about 6'1", and even I was having a little bit of a decent struggle of getting up on there. So that can be a nice way of giving yourself a nice load assist just to get your kayak up on there. So the downloader is definitely not limited to what you see here today. Still packs a lot of punch. Well guys, I think that about does it for our look at the Malone Downloader J-Style kayak carrier here on our 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee. I'm Bobby. Thank you for watching.